Morning. We've got a few moving pieces this morning. Jim is out running the roller right now. Dad's gonna take the tillage machine here and head up to our next field. And I'm gonna head right out here by the house and start planting soybeans. But first, we've got a bent shank there we need to replace. We've got a sweep missing. There's a lot of rocks in this area, so it's pretty obvious what happened. Isn't that right, Didge? Oh.
Different sizes?
No, you just can't get a socket on it.
Oh.
Or really a wrench for that matter. You could grab that tool for getting the sweeps off and the hammer and that big screwdriver, scrape mud. If they would give me an 1/8 inch more on this casting, I could get a socket on here. That would just be far too convenient. You said we're going to need a clip too. Was that for the one I just put on or for the one I'm about to get to?
For the one you're about to get to.
Okay.
You might not, but 4 out of 5 times I've needed a clip.
Yeah.
I'll get you one.
No, on the top of the toolbox, I already got one there. Well, this clip's still sticking up pretty good.
Is it? Maybe you'll be okay, because
Yeah.
I have been okay a couple times.
Oops. No, it snapped on there pretty good.
Oh, good deal.
But grab me 1, 2, as long as I'm here.
High-speed ones?
Yeah, off there, if we got them.
Yeah, we got for sure 2 more left after this. I got regular ones in the tractor that I've been putting on.
Okay. Have you lost some?
Yeah.
Really?
I think I started with 6 in the tractor.
Yeah.
I put in 5 more yesterday, and I know I grabbed 4 or 5 out of here.
Really?
Could have been in the morning.
Now we got a company coming out to fill the seed tender with some bulk soybeans. I'm gonna open the tarp on this and back this into the yard. Oh, Dad must need depth too.
You ever wonder how much fuel gets used transporting DEF around and producing DEF and hauling it to the farm and cleaning up the spills from DEF and leaky hoses?
I never have, but now I do.
Yeah, it's really saving the environment, I think.
Listen to Dad. Always stirring controversy. Go gadget tarp. Time to go get some rocks now. Onyx was out in the field I'm headed to with the planter last night, but it got pretty dark on him, so I'm gonna go finish up where he wasn't able to get to and try to grab all the rocks. I got too far off to the side on that one. I'm gonna have to reset. There we go. It's much quieter with the window closed, but it's not as good of a visual for you guys. Just got a call from Brad. He said Lundblad's and him, they're both coming out today. They're gonna get rid of that old shed.
Okay, it's about a week too late, but it'll still be nice to have it gone.
Yeah, he was gonna cut stuff up, and it sounds like maybe he's gonna take some of it, and it sounds like it'll all be cleaned up today.
Okay, that'll be nice. Yeah, we probably won't put corn in the planter to go back and spike it in, will we?
No, we won't. If anything, we could put some beans there, but I don't know. I know that's not worth it. There's a piece of ground that we rent that's just a 1/2 or 3/4 of a mile north of the house, and there's an old shed on there that they used to keep some cattle in. They haven't really used it for years, and it blew down last year in the storm. There were pieces all over. They piled it back up where the shed used to be, and we farmed around it for, well, we farmed around the shed when it stood, now we farm around the piles, but it sounds like they're coming to get rid of that today, so that will be really nice. We don't have to farm around a pile of what used to be an old shed that nobody used. Well, that'll do it. I got every single rock out of that field. We'll never have to pick rocks again. That's a joke. The frost and the tillage brings more up every year. We've been doing it for over 150 years. I haven't, but we, the family, has. Should be all set now to get the planter moving. Alright, I've got my boundary in here. I'm gonna actually get rid of the old boundary, and I'm gonna do it by going in and creating a new one. Let's see here, but I want a new one. How do I do that again? I did know. We have a few fields that need a new boundary, and this is one of them. So there we go, now I got it. It was under a completely different spot. So driven standard boundary. Okay, maybe not. Geez, I'll get there. Create boundary, existing coverage map, calculating. Boom, there's our new boundary. 68.74 acres. That all looks correct. Now I go here. Takes a second. Now I go here. Now I'm gonna go constant. Now I've got my boundary set with the new boundary, and I've got a track over here. Once I move over there, it's gonna latch onto that, and it's gonna auto steer around my end rows. And my understanding is now that I have this boundary set up, when I come back I can use that same boundary with the sprayer, the same one with the combine, the same one if I was putting nitrogen down here. I can use the same one when I come back a year from now and plant corn here. The boundary is the recorded boundary. That 7,000 receiver is gonna cling to that exact boundary, and it's all gonna be great. Okay, so it's gonna find that, it's gonna line up my planter, and down we go. If you watched a few videos ago, I mentioned the new 7,000 receiver that John Deere has come out with. This one does not need a base station. It runs everything off of satellites, so you don't have to depend on a base station. If a station were to lose power or get knocked over in a storm or something like that, these new 7,000 receivers operate entirely off of satellites. And I've got a receiver also on the planter, so the planter is actually communicating back to the tractor and telling it how to correct to make sure that the planter is exactly where it needs to be. So hopefully we can come back with the sprayer. We've got 120-foot booms, we got a 60-foot planter. I'm going around twice, so we can come back with the sprayer, latch right onto this boundary, and it should drive the sprayer around as well. There you can see my tractor's off 2 inches in order to try to get the planter just right. So now we're at a corner here, and the tractor's gonna correct. I did put a marker line down, because I'm old school enough that I trust marker lines more than anything. All right, the first 70 acres of the day are down. It is lunchtime. Onyx has been in the cab with me doing some homeschool work. He's gonna go in and make some sandwiches now, and I am gonna fill the planter with seed and go 1 mile north and knock out another 120, 125 acres. Jim is out there. He's feeling good enough now. He's running the roller, and Dad is about 5 miles that way running the field cultivator. You can kind of see up there, that's where they're burying that shed. And what an awesome day. It's supposed to be in the mid-70s today. It's got to be there right now. This is just awesome. Yesterday was great. It's been really, honestly, once the snow started melting, it's been just an awesome spring. Our seed tender is full, so we've got plenty of seed for the day. Probably enough to get through half of tomorrow. Soybean seed goes a lot quicker than corn because you plant it at so much higher of a population. Full. Well, just like that, another 125 acres done. I didn't show anything. Onyx was in here doing a bunch of homeschooling with me, so we just got it done. It was pretty uneventful. Now I'm gonna go home, top off with diesel because we're gonna go to our farthest north field. It's about, I don't know, an 8-mile drive or so. That is if the neighbor and I can squeak by each other here. Not a problem. I don't need diesel yet, but I'm not driving 8 miles with a half a tank. I'm gonna get up there and get it all done. It's about 300 acres before we come back this way. And I guess I'll put DEF in too, as long as I'm driving right by. All right, we got 2 rigs, locked and loaded, fueled up. We're gonna head up to that field. Onyx is gonna follow me in the rock picker. We're gonna go keep doing what we do. And look at that, Jim is home. Now we got a traffic jam on the driveway. We snuck pie. Pie? We snuck pie. I wish we had some pie. We snuck by, I guess. Yeah, Jim got done rolling on the north quarter. We just met him on the driveway, so I called him. It sounded like, I told him he could go home because I figured we moved to Pocket Lake. There isn't much he's going to be able to do tonight.
Nope, I think that's good. Probably good for him to have a little shorter day anyway.
Sounds good. He said he'll get a hold of us tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good.
Right to work. I haven't even started unfolding yet. Well, drove all the way up here and got about 7 acres done on the ends. Now I got a problem. I don't know what was going on with these hoses, but it seems like they were getting pinched. These are the seed delivery hoses. The vacuum pressure pressurizes these tanks and pushes seed through. Number 9 ran out of seed and seems to have come unsealed from the tank. It's also got this spot here where it was getting pinched by this seat belt looking deal, the strap. I opened it up with the pliers. I guess by open it up, I mean I wrapped the pliers around it the direction it was smashed. I kind of half smashed it the other way to make it round again, but it didn't work. It didn't matter. It's still not pumping seed to it. So either the hose is wrecked on the inside and it can't push seed through there, or it's not going to push seed through if it's not sealing perfectly tight at the tank. I don't know which one it is, but that tank is awfully full and I really don't want to have to dump that. But for anybody that knows what they're looking at, there are beans right there. And when I turn the CCS pressure on, there's a little bit of air coming out around that compared to the rest, which are sealed much tighter. So I'm pretty nervous and relatively confident we're gonna have to dump that. God dang it. I'll turn that CCS pressure on one more time and shake those lines, but that's what I've been doing here. Yeah, see, they're tight. Nothing. No flow to row 9.
Your call has been forwarded to an...
Well, that's one tech that's probably busy underneath somebody else's machine. I just want to know if that little leak around there would be enough. Hey Daryl, got a question for you. I got a hose, one of the seed hoses that runs to the row units. One of those got kind of halfway pinched in those straps that kind of hold them together.
Okay.
So it got halfway pinched and it pulled it off just a little bit at the bottom of the CCS tank, but I cannot get it to push any seed through now. Do those hoses collapse on the inside, or is it from being pulled away from that CCS tank? Is that gonna stop it from pushing seed?
I would say just pulled away from the tank is probably some of it. I mean, they don't really collapse if they're, they don't separate from the outside to the inside. So it should be just that it's sucking or not, it's losing air pressure somewhere.
So the CCS tank still shows, when I put it down, it still shows the same pressure that I've been running with.
Yep.
but the other hoses are pushing and row number 9 is not.
Okay. I would guess maybe when it got pinched, it maybe maybe it plugged somewhere.
Yep.
And it just hasn't gotten feed back to that, you know, or because so you may have to pound and jiggle on them and get it to get feedback there.
That's what I've been trying. I haven't gotten it to wake up. I mean, I'll try a little bit more, but
okay.
Otherwise, I suppose just pull that hose off.
Right, pull the hose off and see if it. Boy, usually they got to have a hole in them or they got a kink in them to not let the seed go. That's about the only thing. Because I mean, they do make splice kits for them too.
Okay. So if like right now, it's almost like it pulled a little spot away from the bottom of the CCS tank, so I can see beans that are pinched in there, and I can feel a little bit of air coming out. But but the gauge is still up, so would that be enough to stop it?
That's enough to not let it go down that row. Yep. Because it does. Because you're only talking 10 pounds, you know, of air.
And then I suppose if I got to fix that and replace that, we got to dump the tank.
Unless there's a way. I don't know if there's a way to get it. Somehow we got to get it sealed up there. But I don't know that anything's going to be tough enough to hold the pressure.
No, I don't. Especially not.
Might hold it for a little bit, but not. But yeah, otherwise I'd say. I mean, we could sure try that first.
That isn't worth trying. It's too dusty. That isn't going to work.
Right. You'd have to get cleaned up really good for something even to stick to it. But I would think I'd take some sort of a foam in there first, probably, to help block the air.
Right, and that's actually where the beans are coming through, where it connects. There is a big foam gasket on the outside.
Right.
So
I think until that gets, it's not going to push air to that row like it needs to.
Okay.
It'll push beans to it.
I'm going to pull that hose off then and just start digging around there, see if I can get it to seal up.
Okay. Eric might still be at the shop. I know Ron is not tonight. He was there all weekend, so.
Okay.
But I can, you don't have to yell if you want Eric to come and look at it.
Sounds good. It'll take me some time anyway.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Daryl. Onyx, can you run up here with that tractor near me? I got to see if you have the tools I need in there. I got a problem here that I keep working on. I guess I do have a screwdriver. I was thinking I didn't. This is incredibly annoying right now. Sometimes breakdowns don't bother me so much, but right now I really want to be moving, and this is bothering me a lot. Can you tell? I don't believe, judging by how this hose feels to me, that it's plugged. I've dealt with plugged hoses before, but I'll take it off and see. Maybe I can dump it out. I don't know, just take stuff apart and see, I guess. What moves on there? Look at that. Sort of nothing in there. Look at that. That's even more fascinating. It's tough to see, but I'm going to show you before I dig it out of there. I think, come on, I think that's dirty seed. I think there's some rotten seed right here in a big chunk. For sure there is.
Was one row not planting?
One row not planting because it couldn't get pressure. So, and I don't know if it was because the hose was pinched the way it was, or if it was from a rotten chunk stuck in there. I think that's what happened earlier when I had that row plug when you were with me, Onyx.
Yeah.
I think the seed is dirty.
Oh.
The seed we got in the tender this morning, I noticed it looking kind of like some of them are treated, some are not. I don't know. As long as I got it off, I'm gonna fold the planter halfway. It's too tight with the planter open to be able to take the hose off. But when I fold the wings part way, it loosens up a little bit. Now I gotta have it all the way up. And that loosens it, makes it harder to reach. That's clear. Wide open. Here's my theory right now. The seed is dirty. It's got some rotten chunks in it, a few chunks of rotten beans in there, whether they came from the bunker, from an auger, from the truck that brought them out, I don't know. But the rest of the hoses are able to push those chunks through and break them up and deal with them. This hose, since it was so tight and it was pinched by this strap, couldn't force that chunk through and it was stuck in there. That's my theory, and I'm relatively confident right now. I bet you when I start this up, it's gonna work. Look at that. Full of beans. Turns out I didn't need any tools from Onyx's tractor. Also turns out my theory was correct. I guess I should have pulled the hose before I called Daryl, but whatever, it's fixed. Still better than the time that I called John Deere, because there was a sensor going off on the combine over and over and over again. I have been clearing it for so many days, I was so annoyed by it, I never read the thing. We had a tail light out. I called John Deere, a service tech came out, read the code, and put in a new tail light on a combine. It was a service call. I can't believe I admitted to that just now. Oh, moment of truth. It's all working. Population, singulation's coming up. Frustrating, but not expensive. Well, guess what? I got another row that's not delivering seed. I just got out here, haven't done anything with it yet, but I'm gonna confirm there's not seed in the row. And there is not. So first thing to do is wiggle the hoses, but I'll bet there's another chunk of like dirty seed, rotten crap in there. I shouldn't need to run that much pressure, but with dirty chunks of stuff in the seed, we gotta be able to push it through. Another one. This time it's the same row as last time. This is not the planter's issue. This is a dirty seed issue, I'm convinced. I'm not even gonna shake the hose with the pressure on this time, I'm just taking it off. It's the same one, so I'm sure it never fully cleared out. It can't keep up. Oh yeah. Why is there not even... I'm going to turn the pressure on now. So hopefully that cleared out whatever was in there. Look at that. Frustrating. There's another one. This one is a different row this time. Boy, I don't know. We might have to dump this seed and try to return it. I'm so frustrated this time. I set the camera down while I pulled the hose off. But before I remove this chunk, I want to get it on camera and prove if my camera will focus in there. No, not really. But that is a wad of about 30 soybeans stuck together, meaning they've had moisture on them, they're old, whatever. I don't know if they were in a truck, an auger, the bunker, the seed treater. I don't know. I broke it up and got the hose up back on there. The agitators are moving. This is a bulk bean from a local co-op that I'm not going to name because we've always had good luck with them. They've been good to work with, but this is maddening. 5 to 4. Can you hear me at all now that you're a little closer? You can't. Well, there's another one. Half a round later. I think we're going to be dumping this seed. I'm just going to pull this hose to confirm that's what it is. Hopefully get a good view of what's in there. Yes, sir. There it is. Get a picture of that. This one's a lot deeper in there. It's harder to see. I can't really get this camera in there, but when I use the flash on my cell camera, it's pretty obvious. Hey, have you left with that seed truck yet? Okay, I think don't bother. I think we're gonna dump that seed. I've plugged up 4 or 5 times in the last round and a half with rotten chunks in the seed. And I've had to, yeah, and I gotta keep pulling the hoses off to break up the rotten chunks and feed them through. I don't see it in the top of the tanks. I'm looking down the top of the tanks now, but earlier I could see it in the windows of the seed tender. But they were little. I mean, I just figured, you know, they came from a belt or an auger or something and they'd break their way up, break up and feed through. But they're not. They're getting stuck down in there. So it sounds like after talking to the co-op, they gave me the green light to go ahead and dump these beans if we have to. They're not treated beans, so I mean, we could just pull up to the edge of the field next to the trees and literally dump them in a pile, and the birds and the deer will eat them. I really don't want to do that, but we'll see how it continues to go here, because we have about 40 or 50 more units of this bean still in the seed tender. So I don't know what to do, and it would be free of charge. I still hate to do it. I don't know. It's 9 p.m. We'll make a decision at some point. No, it looks fairly clean on the top, but I could see it in the seed tender this morning, and it's obvious what it is in the hoses.
Okay.
It's very obvious. I took pictures.
Okay, you're probably gonna have to dump it, huh?
Probably. I think we're gonna pull this in the shop, and in fact I know that I'm going to pull it in the shop, and we're gonna open the tarp on that and take a look in there. The consensus right now seems to be that we should dump the planter. If we dump the planter, I'm dumping what's left in here, because there's no sense in putting this back in the planter. I'm kind of confused as to why it planted so good most of the day, and then I started getting those chunks and having problems, but there's no question that those were the problem. You see it?
Few are treated.
Yeah, there's just a few, yeah, because they run them through the same truck and stuff.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, so there's one rotten one. Oh, we'll open the tarp and climb up top. So for the most part they're clean, but there's a chunk there. There's one back there. I'll see if I can get the camera to, I don't know if it's picking it up or not, but there's an obvious 2 chunks. Maybe there's another third little one down here. The back looks cleaner.
They brought them out to us.
That's what I'm thinking. They probably had that other variety in that they did have problems with.
Oh shit, there's a lot in there.
You see them?
Yeah.
And it's just, they're only like, you know, they're I don't need, like quarter size only, but that's what's plugging up in there.
Yeah.
They don't break up.
There's actually a lot of them. Holy shit.
You make them sound even worse than I was thinking. I didn't think they looked that bad. It's just those few chunks that are a problem, but if they're a problem, they're a problem.
But you can see chunks of them where they aren't moldy and they're still stuck together.
Right. Well, we're definitely going to be returning the seed that's in the tender. I'm hoping to plant out what's in the planter. Could take some time. We'll see how that gets, but we'll talk to the co-op more in the morning, because I know they will take them back, so maybe we'll just return these in the tender. It'd be easy to transfer. The tender's not going to plug up. Either way, I guess you'll have to watch the next video to see what we do, but thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it very much.